morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, December the 18th. And our next guest is coming to us via Zoom. And that is Barbara Buffaloe.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you are, Barbara. Zooming in here to us.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine.
Hi.
Fine. And
I'm zooming into you.
Yeah, you are. Barbara, of course, is with the City of Columbia. And we talk about recycling and reusing, reduce, reuse, recycle. And here we are, Christmas time. And I guess one of the big things we want to talk about is less consumption during these unusual holidays.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to talk about.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Less consumption.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about, so last year, I think I was talking to you about my New Year's resolution to try to be more present and not have a lot of consumption. And then 2020 hit, and not using single-use containers or getting takeaway from restaurants completely went out the window because I felt it was my sole responsibility to keep my favorite restaurants open.
Yeah.
But I think we can all still think about this as we're getting closer to Christmas, and then also for New Year's and 2021, thinking about just having less stuff and giving the presence of, acknowledging our friends and our family, sending personalized letters or having Zoom chats with them, rather than thinking that we have to show our love, which is buying stuff that they may or may not need.
Right. And the other thing we were talking about on some of our segments, instead of buying a particular gift for somebody who may not really need a gift, make a donation to a local organization that could put that money to use, like United Way or the Food Bank or Voluntary Action Center. Make that donation in their name, and it will go to really good use. Right?
Yes, yeah. So a lot of offices do these United Way campaigns, and just the importance this year of giving.
Exactly.
And so, if you do have the ability, if you can give in the name of somebody, that shows, I know, for instance, my aunt, I always give to I give to the Rotary Foundation because she's very active in her Rotary Foundation in Pennsylvania.
Right. And then
she doesn't need more scarves or more. Exactly. She doesn't need more stuff, and she appreciates that because that's something that she very much values. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Barb, I had an email from one of our listeners and viewers. His name is John, and he specifically said, next time you have Barbara Buffaloe on, and he said, and I love her. He said, I love her laugh. He says, next time you you have Barbara Buffaloe, would you ask her to consider this question? It's about plastic recycling specifically. He said, according to an NPR story, most plastics are actually thrown out instead of recycled now that China no longer takes them. Also, according to the NPR story, the oil industry actually created a fictitious market for plastic recycling, knowing all along it's not feasible. So, his question is it worth it to recycle plastic? Is the City of Columbia able to sell any of the things that we recycle? Answer.
So that's a really good question, and it's one that we get a lot. So actually this summer, Ben Kreitner in my office published 3 different op-eds that were in the Columbia Missourian. And so I encourage people to go check those out. They're about how recycling works, what happens with recycling, and our own local system. So for our recycling market, we do have the ability to sell a lot of our materials, but not every material is valued at the same rate. So for instance, plastics 1s and 2s, things like your plastic milk jug or some of the thicker plastics that you have for cups, those we can sell. It's harder for us to sell plastics 3 through 6 because they're all mixed together. We just don't have enough room at our material recovery facility to sort all of those into their own bin. So we have to lump them all together and try to sell them that way. So we haven't had as much luck with that one, but we still hold on to it, hoping that we'll find markets for those less desirable plastics. But the other ones we do, and they're usually within the Midwest region.
Okay.
That's where we're lucky, because in the Midwest, we have a lot more potential than on the coast, which really did rely on shipping it overseas.
So you're saying that we should continue recycling the plastics because they can
Correct.
be reused.
Correct.
Now,
Correct. And again, but that goes back to how we started this conversation too. With like also, can you find alternatives? Can we reuse the materials? Can you use something else? You know, thinking about trying to reduce your consumption is really the first key in reducing our waistline.
Okay, now you said the plastic milk jugs, those recycle. What about the water bottles that we buy?
Yeah, water bottles are recyclable.
They recycle those.
Often, like a bottled water, the ones are the same as kind of like your milk jugs.
Okay.
But again, I would say, what would I say, Paul?
Oh, well, just go to the tap and turn on the water and drink that water.
Exactly.
Instead of buying a plastic water.
Right. And get a cup. Get your glass, right?
Yeah. Get a reusable cup that you can wash. and you end up saving money. Yeah. All right, Barb, we're almost out of time. Is there anything else you want to mention? We got about a minute left here.
The only thing I was just gonna encourage people, go to connect with us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. The purpose being is that we have a lot of tips at this time of year, everything from recycling to making sure you don't over apply ice melt so that it runs off into our rivers and creeks. So there's lots of tips out there. So we encourage people to connect with us on social media, and they can ask us these questions too, and we can respond to it in a timely manner.
Okay. So when you're using that ice melt, that's salt, basically, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So think about it this way. You don't want to over apply it because then it just washes off and you've got salty creeks. Also, you just follow the directions. A lot of times people put more on thinking it'll work faster, but it doesn't. It just still works just the same amount of time. So just apply what the directions on the bag tell you to. Would
it be better? I remember when I was growing up out in the country, we used to use cinders from our furnace. Is it better to use cinders, or are they going to be as bad for the...
Yeah, we get that question too. So really what those are really just for traction. Kitty litter, sawdust, cinders, those are really just for traction, for moving around, but not necessarily for ice melting.
All right, Barbara, thank you so much for coming by. Stay healthy.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
And hopefully, we'll keep Zooming with you. Hopefully sometime next year we'll be able to see you in person again.
I would love to see you in person, Paul.
All right, something you'd like to hear or see, I'd love to hear from you. Drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu, and when you go out and about, wear that mask, okay? Bye-bye.